Yeah.
But we do the engineering, and what happens is they have to review it and approve it, because it has to meet their specs.
So, in theory, or is in fact, that this guy, or this contracting company is the lowest bidder for the engineering?
No, you don't need the lowest bid.
You don't?
No. You don't have to bid out professional services. You don't have to bid out legal. It's in practice, it's usually a good thing to do every now and again, but you don't have to, you're not bound by it, because it's a professional service. In theory, you can get rid of them whenever you want, just then go with somebody else.
Any more comment?
So, before we're gonna make we gotta vote on this resolution tonight?
Yes, all the resolution is saying is that if the project goes forward, we can recoup the costs that we're incurring now through the planning process. If you don't do this, then all the money we're gonna spend to get to the point where we bid the project, we're not gonna be able to get that reimbursed to the city. We would just be doing it and tossing it away. Right, Kathy, anything else that?
Just, that's exactly right, it just allows us to reimburse ourselves.
Okay.
Move to approve it.
And I second.
Motion by Mr. Hansi, second by Mr. Dahl. Any more questions?
Yeah, I took and measured the length of it down here, 7/10 of a mile. And there's 38 or 39 new connections to be made. The last project you did over there in the west end, or on the north end, was about the same mileage, 7/10 of a mile. And that had 68 connections, new pipe, and that was $1 million. What we gotta keep in mind is this one should come under that, because of less connections. Why not?
Because you're looking at apples and oranges. You've got a street that's gonna be probably twice or 3 times the thickness. It's gonna have a lot more rock. The sewer and the water mains are all oversized. There's sidewalk, there's a retaining wall, there's a storm sewer in this project as well as up there, but it's oversized because it's in a downtown area. There's a lot more crossings of utilities that have to be considered. So to say that just because the length of the road and the number of connections that it ought to be less than another project, that it's apples and oranges. You're not comparing this to the same thing.
But we don't have the blacktop to worry about. The state is doing that.
Right. The center part, not all of it, we pay for the outer, the turn lanes and the parking lanes. As I said, it's a very complex project to try to determine who's paying for what.
So then you're
We're
saying.
basically digging into a 2-year process here, Roger.
The what?
This is a 2-year process to figure everything out right now.
Well, I'm trying to find out a few things.
Yeah. Well, does it have anything to do with the resolution we're doing tonight?
Well, it might have. I mean, if you don't understand what you got going forward with, why should we be making these agreements now? I mean, I'd like to understand what is going to go on down through the main street. I didn't know that the city owned the parking lanes on both sides. Is that what you're saying?
A percentage of it, not all of it. Again, this project is, it's gonna take a couple of years to design. At each phase, we'll have open houses and we'll invite the council in to participate in the discussion. So you'll have a clear understanding of how it comes together. We're going to hopefully get a lot of public feedback into the process so that this street, which is obviously an important part of our community, is a gateway into the town, and we can look at trees and whatever else we're gonna do on the project. All we're saying with this resolution is that as we go through and plan this project, we'd like to be paid for the work that we're doing right now, so that it doesn't fall squarely in the backs of our taxpayers to float the cost of this project that we'll never get reimbursed from if we don't pass this resolution. That's all this resolution is saying.
Okay.
I have a question about, and this ongoing hearings and things like that, they'll let us know, or all the public know about what's going in there regarding pipe size and storm drain size and everything like that.
Yes. Yep. But again, it's a 2-year process, so the public needs to be a little relaxed about this for a little bit. Let the engineers, tear into this thing and get their first initial go-through. Then staff will be working with them, change some things as we go. And then we'll roll out the first plans, and then we'll make adjustments as we go from there. Otherwise, we have too much input at the beginning, and we're chasing our tail before we have the project scoped out.
Being that this project is a major highway, we may be looking at higher standards as well for construction purposes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Your asphalt is gonna be a lot heavier section. The gravel underneath it is gonna be a lot heavier and thicker than what we'd have on a residential street. Again, adding to the cost of the project.
So does the highway department reimburse the city for using their streets around?
No.
Detoured?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. We'll have to check on that. My understanding from projects I've done in the past is they have to pay to make the street right if there was any damage done to it. And we'll of course make the argument that there is, whether they can see it or not.
Right.
So maybe they would come in and do an overlay for us, or just give us money that we could put aside so we can do the work later. But it depends. Again, they may figure out a way that they can keep one lane open while they're doing the work. I don't think so, but it's possible. We have to go through all of that. That's why I don't want to say yes or no to anything at this point. We're way too early in this. Other than we know that we've got the project that needs to get done.